Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever watched a video and just been completely moved by it and wondered, how did they do that? Well, it's rarely just luck. There's almost always a blueprint. And today, we're going to do something really cool. We're going to deconstruct a creative brief for a short video to see exactly how these powerful emotional stories get built from the ground up. All right, let's get into it.
So this is the big question, right? How in the world do you create something in just 60 seconds that actually makes someone feel something? Well, the document we're looking at today is basically the secret recipe. It's a detailed plan for a short social media video, and it breaks down, step by step, how to construct that emotional punch.
You know, every great story starts with a single, powerful idea. Now, the brief we're looking at was originally in French, and it puts the core concept right up front. It translates to the importance and value of respecting parents in daily life. This isn't just a topic, you see. It's an entire emotional territory. It's the foundation for everything that's about to be built on top of it.
Okay, so the brief calls this first section une idée, une émotion, which means an idea, an emotion. This is our first stop. We're going to look at how this one idea is carefully engineered to spark a very specific emotional response from whoever's watching. It's all about turning a concept into a genuine feeling.
Now, this is where it gets really clever. Check out the difference between the theme and the purpose. The theme is the what? Respecting parents. Simple enough. But the purpose? That's the why. The goal isn't just to make you think about respect, it's to inspire you to actually do something, to cherish your own parents through small, simple gestures. It's designed to create an emotional nudge toward real-world action. And who is this message for? The brief is super clear: young adults and teens on TikTok. Now, that one little detail, it changes everything. It means the video has to be vertical, it has to be short, 60 seconds max, and the storytelling has to grab you instantly. You know, it has to hit you right in the heart without a ton of complicated setup. Okay, so we've got our idea, our emotion, and we know who we're talking to. The next part of the brief is called La structure du récit, the narrative structure. And this is where things get almost surgical. It maps out the emotional journey of the video pretty much second by second.
And there it is, a classic 3-act story, all squeezed into a single minute. The first 10 seconds are your intro. You set the scene. The next 30 seconds are the development. That's where you build the emotional core. And then the final 20 seconds deliver the climax and the conclusion. So you see, this is so much more than a timeline. It's a roadmap for the viewer's feelings, guiding them from curiosity all the way to a big emotional payoff.
Next up, we have Le langage de geste, or the language of gestures. I love this part. This section of the brief shows us a fundamental rule of great visual storytelling, that the deepest stories are often told not with words at all, but through simple, meaningful actions. In other words, the story is told through action. The creators are following that golden rule of storytelling: show, don't tell. The theme of respect isn't going to be spelled out for you in a voiceover. No way. It's going to be demonstrated. And the brief is very, very specific about how. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. I mean, look at these actions. They're so small, so everyday. Lucas washing the dishes, serving his parents first at dinner, gently taking his mother's hand. Each of these is just a quiet little moment that speaks volumes. Honestly, it says, "I love you and I respect you" louder than any dialogue ever could. This is where the real emotion is made. Even the characters themselves are designed to push this emotional story forward. The brief specifies that Lucas should have a gentle and pensive expression. It describes the mother as having hands textured by work. See, these aren't just little details for looks, they're story points. They communicate warmth, a life of care, and a history of hard work, all without saying a single word. All right, let's move on to the next section, La force des détails, the power of details. This is where we see how the actual visual style becomes a huge part of the message. The details are what make the story feel real, authentic. The choice of style here, it's a total masterstroke. Clay stop-motion animation. Why would they choose that? Well, because it's naturally tangible, it's imperfect, and it feels so incredibly human. It just strips away all that digital gloss and focuses on a handcrafted, sincere feeling that perfectly matches the theme of the story. You feel like every single frame was made with care. And the brief goes even deeper, specifying the exact textures they want you to see. Wrinkled hands, the nubby texture of a wool sweater, carved wood grain in the background. And my absolute favorite detail: seeing the artist's own fingerprints left on the clay. That little imperfection just hammers home the human, sincere, and handcrafted feeling of the whole story. It makes this little world feel completely real. Even the light is a character in the story. The brief specifically calls for warm lighting to give an artisanal texture to the scene. What does that do? It creates this mood of intimacy, maybe a little nostalgia, and safety. It's a subconscious cue that tells our brains this is a place of love and connection. And finally, the brief brings it all home with le message final, the final message. This is the big payoff. This is where we see how everything we've looked at, the theme, the structure, the actions, the tiny visual details, it all builds toward one single, powerful conclusion that is designed to stick with you long after you scrolled past. And here it is, the final text on the screen. It translates to respect one's parents is to honor one's own youths. Now, this line is brilliant. It takes the very personal, specific story of Lucas and his family, and it connects it to a universal, timeless truth. It elevates a simple family moment into this profound statement about who we are and where we come from. And that makes it resonate with absolutely anyone, anywhere. And that brings us to the end of our deconstruction. Seeing a story broken down like this just goes to show you that a real emotional impact is no accident. It's a craft. It's built piece by piece, choice by choice, detail by detail, which really just leaves us with one final thought. With a clear idea, a simple structure, and a focus on meaningful action, what story could you tell in 60 seconds? Thanks for tuning in.